computer. All right. Somebody go ask where everybody is in the group. People need to be rolling in here. Everybody needs a little bit of a something something today, let me tell you. All right. So, for those of you guys that are new, welcome to Conversations with Jules. These bad boys happen every Tuesday. I just recently started rotating them. So, the first and the third Saturday is going to be Tuesday morning, so this must be the third Saturday, and the second and the fourth Saturday will be Tuesday evenings. Also, Coach Jen, who is also a client of mine, but she's also a coach in here as well. She does her own conversations. So she will post too when she does hers, and you're more than welcome to get on her group calls too if you'd like to. Even if you are coaching with me, if you want to get some additional information, that is completely fine with me. But if y'all abandon me, I'm going to tell you, well, that's on you guys. All right. So, what I want to tackle today, because I've seen a lot of things, some of it's come up on your, and again, if you guys are new, welcome, whether you're new to becoming her or you're just new to me, you transferred over from another coach. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm happy to have you here. But what I've been seeing come in on some of the check-ins, I've also seen it come up in a few of the posts. Oh my goodness. That few of the posts in the community, I've seen some questions about like, you have things coming up and like, what do I do? And how do I make sure I handle things? So one of the biggest things that I want to remind you guys is whether you're new, whether you've been with me for over, a few months, a year, whatever that might be, remember at the end of the day, you're all very capable women of planning. Okay. And at the end of the day, you can do anything. So a lot of times I'll see or hear, oh my God, this is happening this weekend, or I have an event happening, or I'm going on a girls' weekend, or I have a vacation planned, and how do I handle it? Like, oh my God, like, here's what I want you guys to like literally sit with for a second. It's not that complicated. We overthink things. We overthink things because things are new, right? Oh my gosh, this is different. This is new. This isn't how I always did it before. And remember, let's just take travel, for example. What do you do when you travel? You plan. You
I
plan.
said it, plan.
Yep, you plan what you're going to pack. You plan your travel, you schedule your flights, you plan it, you plan the hotels or the places you're going to stay at. You plan. It's no different when it comes to continuing to stay consistent with your exercise or your nutrition. You plan. It might look differently, but you just have to plan. I did it for years. You plan that maybe I need to arrive a little bit earlier so I can pop into a grocery store and get the things that I might need. You plan by maybe having to call ahead to a hotel and say, "Hey, I need a refrigerator and a microwave because I have some dietary needs and I'm following." Maybe you plan on packing some meals that or some food that is easy to take with you so you don't have to deal with it. Maybe you plan by looking ahead and seeing, hey, does my hotel have a gym? And if not, is there one nearby? You plan like knowing that, hey, I've got some activities planned where I'm going to be getting in a lot of steps and walking. So maybe like I can shift my nutrition, myself around. So it all comes down to planning, guys. So don't overthink it. And just remember, like, if you fail to prepare, prepare to fail. Like, and here's a classic example of it. Our friend Barb in the pink, who's walking around right now, she just got back from Italy. Now, she too was in a situation where she was like asking a lot of questions before she went, rightfully so. She's a little bit nervous, but what did I say? And she can like admit, she can like add in on this. I said, Barb, just trust yourself. You just need to plan. These are the things that you need to do. And she did, and she executed it flawlessly. She's happy as hell with herself because she went and enjoyed herself. She actually wound up losing weight while she was gone, but she enjoyed her vacation. Now she's been with me for since January, and I think she's been following a nutrition guide for a couple of months. But my point with her was like, trust yourself. You've learned a lot, which leads me into those of you that are new, is leaning into part of the big piece of the puzzle, guys, is building that foundation. And the women that have built a foundation in here will tell you that it is a game changer. They are the most successful ones. Okay, because you start to learn things as you stack and build habits and create new things that you're not even aware of. And that's another thing that I had said to Barb. I'm like, and have a understanding, and you have created new habits that are automatically just going to hit you when you are out there. Don't worry about what used to be. You've actually rewritten the script a little bit, and the way that you approach this is going to look very different. And it was. Barb, do you want to add anything?
Well, I just felt solid. I mean, and I was secure and I got some slack, you know. What are you doing? We're in Italy. And I'm like, I don't want it, you know. With a I try not to have too much attitude, but this is my body. And I even kind of told, some of the parents were asking me about it, because it was a school trip, and I'm like, I just don't want it. I don't want the bread, I just don't want it. And so I felt solid. I
Mhm.
mean, my water, I couldn't really drink a lot of water, which drove me nuts. Because God, we were going 10 hours a day, just walking and seeing everything. But I mean, the foundation that I had prior to was like amazing. I mean, my brain was solid, and I was like, just like you said, you don't want it. I don't want it. If I want it, I wanted it. I had gelato, what, three
Mhm.
times or whatever, because I wanted it. It was
Mhm.
okay. I
Mhm.
charted it and went on.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it was good. It felt good to be prepared, and you definitely prepared me.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Totally.
And that's like, guys, so as you start to go through the process, and this is an example with Barb, she hasn't even been with me for like 6 months or anything. And that's like, but she was dead on consistent as she followed, like, the program in the beginning or the guides that I gave her. She was very leaned into it a lot and created those habits, and you just heard her. So then she goes on vacation. I'm like, don't worry about it. You're going to be fine. Trust me, you're going to make good choices. And what I want you to hear her say is, like, she said no to the bread. So immediately you might be like, she's restricting herself. No, she said yes to the gelato. Difference. It's what she wanted. So it's not about always, and those are the changes that you start to make. So my biggest thing about traveling, guys, is like, and there's a lot of women in here that travel, is like, or having a girls' weekend, or things that are happening. It's about making choices and planning. So like, also part of these decisions as you're going through is like, remember, like, you have a choice. I did a Facebook chat on this in the Facebook. I did a live on this not too long ago. And there are going to be a lot of times it's about us making choices and making decisions as well, and then also living with the comfort of sometimes saying no, it's not what I want. Barb shaking her head, and standing in and owning it and knowing that it's okay, and that I think we worry about making people outside ourselves uncomfortable. Like, if I say no to this, I'm going to make these people uncomfortable. It's not your problem. It's not your problem. You do you. So, thinking about when you're planning and preparing, like, also part of planning and preparing is something like, and I'm just going to lean into Barb because it's easy. She just did this. I love fucking gelato. So I'm planning that I'm going to have a little bit of this, but I don't love fucking bread. So I'm not going to do that. Do you see the difference? Planning. She planned that. Like, it's a low, like, and if that, when we plan, and that she also, it's also about planning all your other meals. We don't save our calories. So it's not about planning to eat the gelato because holy fuck, I'm in Italy and why the hell would I not? That shit is good. But it's also about not skipping meals all day. It's eating your breakfast, your lunch, all the food. So when it comes to the time that you're going to have the gelato, the odds are you're going to have a bite of that bad boy, and everything in your body is going to go, oh my God, I think I just stepped into heaven. And you're going to have a second bite, and heaven is still going to exist. And by the third or the fourth bite, heaven is gone because you've already enjoyed it and you probably don't even finish the whole gelato. That's the difference. Like, a lot of people say restriction. No, that's not restriction. It's learning structure. It's learning to build a foundation so you have food freedom when you start to come into life, but now you have a structure around it and it's not a free for all. It's like me. I don't like donuts, so I don't know why I use the word donuts, but there's a donut sitting in front of me. If I take that donut, it's because I really freaking want that donut, not because it's sitting there, not because my best friend's eating it, not because somebody came up to me and said, hey, here's a donut, Jill. And I don't polish off the whole thing, nor probably the dozen that I might have done in my past. I have a bite or two. And that happens with pretty much everything, whether it's drinking alcohol or anything that I do. It's if I stay focused on and I plan, it looks very, very different than if I wing it. So I'm traveling this week. Planning. I'm planning. I have my food being shipped into the hotel. That's just what I do because I'm a little bit more disciplined right now as I'm leaning into possibly prepping for a show. So I have my food being shipped in. I have a refrigerator. I called the hotel ahead, said, yo, is there a refrigerator in my room? No, there's not. Well, I have some food shipping in. It is going to be landing on Wednesday. It needs to be in a refrigerator. It says it has my name on it. It says, attention, Jules, can you make sure you slide that into your cooler for me? And by the way, could I get a refrigerator? Because as you might have just sorted out, I have some dietary needs and I have to eat specific foods. So could I have a refrigerator and a microwave in my room? Cool. Yes, you can, Miss Lindstrom. What's your gym look like? This is what our gym looks like. Fantastic. Is there anything nearby that might be a little bit more full? Yes, there's actually one just down the street that you could actually walk to. Fantastic. So I don't need to I can Uber everywhere. I don't need to rent a car. No, ma'am, you do not. Done. Bada bing, bada boom. You see what I do? It's not hard. We overcomplicate shit. We just got to think ahead. And then it becomes customized. Does this help for some of you guys that were like, holy shit, I got things coming up? And sometimes it's thinking about like redoing too. Like, I see Brandy on here and, we're talking about date night. And sometimes, it's the same thing. Like, if you have something like a date night or something that you do every week with your significant other, things to think about is like, okay, you don't have to change that, but could I do it differently? Does date night have to be at a restaurant with wine and all the things? It could be, but does it have to be? Could it be date night at the gym? Could it be date night doing something else that's a different activity as you are transitioning into a new healthy lifestyle? Or if it is date night every once in a while at a restaurant, What is it about planning ahead, calling the restaurant or looking at the menu and saying, hey, this shit, I have salmon like sticking to pretty close to your nutrition. I'm literally not trying to use Barb as the good student here, but she does that a lot too. Like she'll go out to eat and she'll be with her husband and she just looks for what is the closest thing to my nutrition guide. So again, it comes down to planning, guys. You don't have to kind of sort of do things. Like you can go all in and do things and get those results. Make sense? Sweet. Sometimes when we are shifting into change, it shows up as resistance. And it's normal. We resist change in all aspects of our life. I resist change, and I'm not just saying around health and fitness. Things change, I resist it. I could be the first, I have to catch myself when I say things like, I don't do that. Well, Jules, maybe you need to be a little bit more open-minded. Maybe you need to give this a shot if you want this thing to work, whatever that might be. But whenever we have something new that comes into our life, and if any of you guys were on an awareness call with me, this is one of the first things I bring up. And it's also in your success blueprint from becoming her, like expect things like emotions that you can expect to kind of go through as you're going through the program. And one of them is that resistance to change, that comes along and it shows up with, well, this isn't how I do things. It's not what I do. It's not for me. I do things this way. And that's just your body, your mind going, actually, what it is your ego. Your ego, and by the way, your ego is not just a chip on your shoulder, and your ego is also not your amigo. Uh, your ego is that little voice that shows up that's like, you can't do that. That's not for you. That's not the way. And you got to look, sometimes you just got to flick it and say, like, sit down and shut up. I'm up to something over here. Just shut your mouth. I know what I'm doing. You got us into all this trouble. I'm about to get us out. All right. You got to listen to me and just tell it to take a seat. When it starts saying, I don't do that. Yeah, well, look what that got us, where that got us. We're going to try this. We're going to look at this differently. We're going to make this shift. We're going to do this thing. And we're going to try it my way for a hot minute. Learn to have those conversations. But the key is to catch yourself when you start to tell yourself those things. Because we do.
No
There's
comment.
a person on this call that is not guilty of self-talk of where we go. I don't do that. She's fucking nuts. She's
You,
lost her last screw if she thinks that's what I'm going to do. And nobody is like not subject to this. Like literally, I forget about these things, but Jennifer Dittman, who is a coach with us, by the way, was a client of mine. She was you at one point in time. I will never forget the resistance she gave me in the beginning. I sometimes I do I have a little brain block on it, but then I go back and I went back to a moment that she resisted me in the beginning, like stubborn little child she was. Like she just was like, no, I'm like, you got, and when she had her breakthrough moment and she said, uncle, and she leaned in, she'll be the first person to tell you because what I do remember is the call that we were on, very much like this when she had her breakthrough moment and she was like, oh shit, I just got to do this shit. Like, I just got to stop lying to you, bullshitting you. And she was, she thought I didn't know. She thought I didn't know that she was BSing me on her check-ins and stuff. I knew. I could tell by the results. But then she just leaned in. And that's when everything shifted for her. So I mean, it happens, guys. It's like we all do it in different aspects, but it's learning to recognize it and then be like, you just be quiet there for a minute. Sit down. We're gonna do this my way. Helpful? All right, I talked a lot. I hope this was helpful because I saw a lot of this coming up. So, and here's the other thing too, guys, don't overcomplicate shit. Don't overcomplicate it. It's not that hard. We tend to like to overcomplicate things. That's the other part of resistance. I need something. I need you to tell me what to do, Jules. I need you to tell me what to do. Okay, I'm going to tell you what to do. Well, I don't want to do it that way. Okay, well, so like we just continue to put these things in our way, right? So like learning to just not make it that complicated and just like go, I'm just going to put in the reps. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to see the shifts change and it works. It really does work. All right, I'm going to be quiet. Anybody can raise their hand, come off mute, ask me a question, give their 2 cents, tell me I'm crazy. I'm cool with that.
I wanted to talk for a minute.
Absolutely.
I had a really rough week last week. It was an emotional like breakthrough for me. Um, and I was like fighting with my husband, trying to communicate my needs, um, something that I don't normally do. So I had to like, I felt like I had to take a break for a breather, to just catch my breath and restart and refocus. And my coach, Jen, was like, I understand, take this time, which I was shocked. I thought I might get like, you're fine, you can do this, but, and not because that's the way she is, but just because I was afraid to speak up.
Mhm.
So I took a little break from logging everything, um, answering and responding to every comment that I saw and liking everything. And I just kind of regathered myself and felt so much stronger waking up fresh on Monday morning, seeing her comment, like, I've got your back. I know where you're at. She made me feel like she'd been there. And I see her on the call this morning and I'm looking at her biceps and I'm just like, damn, that coach is amazing. So thank you, Jen, and thank you, Jules. And your talk, Jules, really resonated with me because our first conversation was, I am not going to be that girl that annoys everybody.
Mhm.
Like, no, those girls annoy me when I'm on vacation. Like, we're here to party. We're here to have fun. We're not working out first thing in the morning. And I'm starting to feel like I want to be her.
Yeah, yeah.
And normally I wouldn't eat my breakfast and shovel it in my face while I'm having a conversation with however many people that I don't know. But here I
Okay.
am. I'm that
Yeah.
girl.
There you go. Good for
That,
you.
thanks.
Good for you. I love that. And you know what? Sometimes, guys, it is okay, to take a break. Some of you guys have been here for a while. Sometimes we need to step back, refocus, realign. But and actually I do remember my first conversation um with Shannon. She's very right. She told me that and I was like, "Well, what is it about that girl you like?" And she was like, and I was like, "But how is the girl that you are right now? Like, how is that serving you, right?"
She's in amazing shape, my friend that
And
annoys
she
me.
was like, "Well, I want to be her." I'm like, "Well, then."
I know. Yeah.
But
So it is an emotional journey, and I wasn't prepared for that. I did realize that I was at a point in my life where I had shut down and I couldn't communicate, and I didn't know why. But I think it was just being afraid to a people pleaser, being a people pleaser, and I was afraid to be rejected by my spouse, who's like, "What are you doing? Like this isn't you." And so we had that hard talk, and I said, "I'm changing. I'm trying to be better, a better wife, a better woman, a better friend, a better grandma, all those things, and I need your support."
Mhm.
So he actually got up and did 6,000 steps circling around our kitchen before he went to work this morning. Because if he gets 6,000 in before 6 a.m., he can get to his 10,000.
There you go.
Yep. So thank you. I'll
Very
be
good.
quiet now.
Then that's okay. Jen keeps coming in and out. So guys, like that's an important conversation. So let's like, like sometimes you like I'm glad Shannon brought this up because I've never really talked about this before, but sometimes you do have to sit down with your spouse, your significant other, your friends, or whoever that is, and you have to watch your circle, and it is totally fair to be able to say exactly what she said. These are the things I want, this is why I want it, and I need your support, period. I'm not giving you an option here. I need it because
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to guess that 99.9% of you in this group right now are people pleasers, you're givers, and you prioritize everybody else in your life over you, or you wouldn't be here. So to look at somebody and say, no, this is what I'm doing and I need your support, is probably the first time they've ever heard it. They might meet you with a little bit of resistance, but it's okay to ask for that because you've probably been giving your entire life. Good share.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Am I on mute?
No?
Okay, I'll be quiet now.
Anybody else have a share? That was a good one. Thoughts, questions, concerns?
I have a question.
All right, what's your question?
Me and my macros, here I am. Just real quick question. Um, on my last um check-in, Jules, you said my high days cannot be, say, like Wednesday and Saturday, which I know that because it fluctuates because I have two low, one high, two low, and
Yep,
it
yep.
just goes. However, I didn't know how to put this in a message, and I just thought I'd ask on the call. In my Fitness Pal, you have, as far as I have looked, you can only pick certain days to have for highs and lows and put it in that way. So that's why I put it in like that. Otherwise, I will have to go in. I did it for this week coming up so you can see, but on my Fitness Pal, it'll say I'm over my macros in, say carbs or whatever it is. And also in the other app, it'll say I looked and it said I'm at 111% for that day.
Mhm.
But I am doing two low, one high. It's just I cannot put it in my Fitness Pal certain days. So
Correct.
do
Yeah, you just
you
have,
or Jen have any
yeah.
input on that?
Yes. So
Okay.
I just roll my days like kind of like you do. Like I don't lock, I just have my macros in there set and I move them. She also just redid a brand new guide on how to do that and I uploaded it into the macro one. So she just redid it and showed you
Okay.
how she does it.
Okay.
She walks you through it and it's called uploading your carb cycle and it's
Okay.
the YouTube channel, Macro University. It's been redone.
Okay. I will look at that just because it
But you
wasn't
can't,
rolling right.
you can't. You just have to kind of roll them a little bit.
Okay.
What I do, but I think she shows you how to do it. Yeah, she's
Okay.
shaking her head. Yes, she shows you how to do it in this new one. So she redid it to show you guys how to get it to rotate like that.
Okay. So when you look at my check-in and you see my percentages high on certain days, that's probably why. But I will take the time to look at the carb cycle one and see. Um,
And and it's okay if you do that as long as I know it because I look
okay.
at your average. So that
Got
was
it.
just me making sure that you weren't doing that. So
Okay.
like as long as you're getting it in, what I'm looking at, like when you see me do your check-in and you're like watching me do your check-in,
Mhm.
like and I'm pointing at that, I'm looking at your average. So I look at that because whatever fit does, guys, and what I look at, even if you're carb cycling, is it takes the carb cycle that I put in there. So I enter in a carb cycle and I have split macros in there for you. it literally says this is your daily average goal. So it shows me, it takes it and it averages it. Then it pulls the information that you're entering into my fitness pal. So if you're doing 2 low 1 high, even if you're not, you know what I mean? It doesn't, even if your my fitness pal doesn't completely line up, it's sucking that information over and it's showing me your average so that I can see how it lines up. I think my comment was just making sure that you weren't doing that. Because when I went and looked at your fitness pal, I saw and I was like, okay, I just want to make sure she's not doing that. But I can also see when I look at your schedule if you're doing 2 low 1 high, because it'll show me. Like,
Okay.
you know what I mean? It shows me right there. I can see like, oh, she tracked 2 low days, she tracked a high day, she tracked 2 low days. So then I actually know even I can
Okay.
tell without because of the rhythm of it. I think that week it looked like you had done it the other way, which is why I had questioned it.
Yeah. I know I've been doing this for a while, but before I just put in whatever it was daily. And since you wanted it the whole week prior, I'm trying to do that. So that's why I'm just messing with it a little bit. But
It's good though. You're
that's
learning.
good.
And
Yes.
And
Yes.
like, and guys, I think, like some of the time, so like, I'm glad Rita brought this up because she's learning to like, she's always tracked, but I've been challenging her to like do it a little bit differently so she can learn. And it is very helpful when she does that because it allows me to go back and forth. Cindy did it as well too, and she finally got to a place like when you guys really follow like what I'm asking you to do and you enter it in for the entire week, it's a little bit of a pain in the ass in the beginning, but there's multiple things that will happen from it. One, you get like a shit ton of data stored in MyFitnessPal for future use. You have meals and stuff saved that you can start to, once you get brave enough to become, creative on your own, you can start to create your own meals based on meals that you've entered in and saved from nutrition guides. But also, it starts to allow you to have a deeper understanding of the macros that you're bringing in and what happens to your body when you make these changes, because it allows me to see it and to be able to coach you back on what I'm seeing, and almost teach you a little bit like on how to make adjustments here and there. It allows me to go, well, this is off and this is why this is off. And if you go in here and you look at this is off. And if we make this change, see how that happens, how this changes that. And it like just it'll bring you to a whole new level of awareness when it comes to tracking macros. So it takes time, and that's why we slowly build you up to it and have you kind of like put in the reps just by tracking your nutrition. And then, we just keep layering it on. So, like, it's not all at once, holy fuck, how do I do this type of thing? Woo woo. All right. Great call. That was my echo. I said great call and it says to who, so it must think I want to call somebody.
You need to unlock your iPhone first.
No, it's telling you. Oh my goodness. I don't know why she's listening to me. My house is fully automated, right? It's telling me when I need to walk, go to the gym. I have calls coming up. And so clearly it's a little bit too automated. Anybody have anything else? All right. So guys, just FYI, I am trying to stay ahead of check-ins this week. I'm actually going to be traveling. Your coach actually won a trip. With First Forum. So I am going to be in Arizona. I travel Wednesday, and so I'll be a little bit quiet Thursday, Saturday, and then I'll be back on Sunday. But Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for the most part. So I'll check in on you guys, but I am going to be out doing some pretty fucking cool shit in Arizona. So I'm filming some content with First Forum. I'm hiking Camelback. Woo! Yes, I'm hiking Camelback And what else? I think we're doing some this. I'm not so sure about being in my past history with these types of vehicles, but I am not in Mexico, so I guess I'll be a little. We're also going out on ATVs. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. The last experience I had with an ATV did not end up very well, so I'm not so sure if I'm going to be getting on an ATV. But so just a heads up on that. I will be, and I'm traveling Wednesday, but I'm not traveling till Wednesday night, so you probably won't even notice that I'm on an airplane.
I have a question about
Sounds
your
like
trip.
fun.
The ATV part, is it a side by side with a roll cage that you're fully buckled into?
I have zero idea. I'm sure it's just an ATV, but it doesn't matter because I was in one of those before and still managed to
Yeah.
break my neck.
Oh, that was with a
Yeah.
safety harness and the roll cage? Your accident?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Damn coconut. Taxi cab driver.
Damn coconut.
Well, I'm impressed that you're facing that fear. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I go off-roading all the time in a side by side.
I
So I
used to
was so
too. Yeah, I used to too.
okay.
I don't know. They just asked us, they said that they put on there it was part of our adventures, and I was like, oh boy.
Oh boy. Yeah,
Oh boy.
I hear you.
It's funny they did that too, because they actually know that what happened to me. So
Yeah.
it's very interesting that that's part of our itinerary. Maybe though. Anyway. It's all right. I can do this. I can do hard things.
That's right. That's right.
I can get back on an ATV and keep both of my legs. Yes. All right. What else, guys? I love the call. It was a great call. All right. Well, if you guys don't have anything else,
Yeah, great
I am
call.
going to get back. Coach Jen, are you trying to talk to me? I think she's kind
No,
of.
I was just gonna say it was a good call. Yeah,
Yeah.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. I was just gonna say it's a good call. And yes, on the macros, it's like it's just a matter of learning and you making those small little adjustments and tweaks now that I'm back in the app and tracking and not like following. I mean, I'm still following a plan, um but I can like make few adjustments with my carbs and my protein to match my macros that my coach has set for me. And so like sometimes it's just adjusting, like my carbs, like my rice or my sweet potatoes and kind of playing around with it a little bit, like a quarter of a cup or something, or a half an ounce of protein, just so that way you can match it up. And I was just going to say, you change it into My Fitness Pal, but it doesn't change in the Everfit app. But like Jules was saying, it will average out. And as long as you just follow, the two low, one high, if you're on a carb cycle, it will match up event at the end of the week, like that average goal to what your actual goal is. The only thing that's going to throw it off is when you have, your refeeds or whatever. So, but we can see that. So it's not a big deal. And then like if you want to match it up into My Fitness Pal, that's what I do. I just change my high carb, low carb days on a weekly basis by adjusting those days. So that's what I was just gonna reiterate. And yes, I've had an aha moment and I've had epic fails and I've prepared to fail and I've prepared to plan to prepare. So like I've done all the things in between. So you're not alone. And like Jules said, it's a lifestyle. It's, you're learning, you're habit stacking, you're building this foundation, and eventually you're going to get to that ebb and flow. And this is just going to be your lifestyle. So
And that's when the fun starts to happen.
that's when the fun starts to happen.
Mhm. When you hit that
The
ebb and flow.
magic.
You go to Italy and you eat gelato.
Yep,
You know what
exactly.
This is good.
What's that gelato with espresso on the espresso with a little scoop of ice cream on top in Italy?
I didn't do that.
Oh, A friend of mine introduced it to me at an Italian restaurant. I will share what it's called. No, that's bad. No, we're not supposed to have it. Probably. Never mind.
You can have anything you want. This is with moderation.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. It's Terry, who's also in the group. I don't think she's awake yet this morning, but or she's not out of bed yet, and I see Shannon laughing. But Terry will remind me what it is, and I'll let you guys know.
You gotta tell me.
All right. Awesome, guys. I'm going to get back to your check-ins. For those of you that checked in on Monday and are awaiting my response, I'm going to get back to that. For those of you guys that checked in on Saturday or Sunday, your check-ins are done. Go peep your responses from me and take action. I'm working on whoever checked in yesterday. That's what I'm doing today. And if you happen to be a person that checks, if you're on here and you check in on Wednesday and you get Thursday feedback, if you want to check in today, feel free, because I'm going to try to get ahead of the Thursday check-ins on Wednesday. I'm at literally, as you guys are rolling them in on Wednesday, I'm going to try to get as many done as I possibly can on Wednesday as they're trucking in. So I don't have a lot to do on Thursday, and I'm going to try to do a lot of them while I'm flying at on as well. So load them in. Peace, guys.
Congratulations and have a good trip. You've got this. Just listen. Just listen to your heart. You've got it. You've got it. You
Thanks,
do.
Barb.
I went across the whole country and said I'd never do it. It was all
Yeah.
right.
So I can get on an ATV again.
Yeah, do it. Just do it.
All
And you
right.
know what? You'll feel good and you'll have freedom from that fear. Because I had freedom from a lot of, I had a freedom from a lot of fear going across the country. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's why I'm probably gonna do it. I might be like,
No, you got it. I got a good feeling. You got it. You got it.
All right, I'll send you all pictures of me on an ATV, okay?
Yes.
Perfect.
All right.
Have a
Bye,
great day.
guys.
Bye
All
bye.
right. Bye, guys.
Bye
Have a
bye.
good day. Thanks, guys.
Bye. I'll upload this recording.